Welcome everyone to the Freddie and Alyssa show. We got a fun episode. We're going to chat about me hitting my 90-day mark in my diet 3 months in. We're also going to talk about the Head & Shoulders commercial / brand deal. And because Alyssa is forced to sit here and listen to me, we're going to touch on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but not too long.
Okay.
But I think it's really important to just touch a little bit on that. So let's hop into today's episode. Welcome everyone to the Freddie and Alyssa show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook and you want to like the page, that would be awesome. And if you're listening on a platform like iTunes, hello out there. If you want to leave us a 5-star review because you think we deserve it, that would be amazing. We've been putting up content now professionally for over 4 years, and we couldn't be doing what we love without all of your support. So thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. We have a very fun sponsor for the podcast today. When it comes to saving money and having a low monthly overhead, that's right up my alley.
So up his alley,
because you want to have extra money so that you can invest it or do something fun. You don't want to waste money on things you don't need. Today's sponsor is Truebill. How many free trial subscriptions end up costing you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars long after forgetting to cancel? Fight back against scammy subscriptions with Truebill. Truebill is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, you don't want, or you have simply forgotten about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Alyssa and I got Truebill. It was unbelievable, the amount of subscriptions that I think it was mainly me, maybe a little bit of you, just tons of subscriptions. So when we were able to save some money, which is great because again, all about that low monthly overhead. You don't want to waste money. So this app is amazing. It's so simple because sometimes you don't want to go and try to find out where the passwords and subscriptions and all this. It's a mess. Or you'll see it debited on your account and you're like, oh, I got 30 days. I'll cancel this. And then you forget.
Never do.
So Truebill makes it simple. Truebill has over 2 million users and helped them save over $100 million. Like Matthew B., who says, in a matter of seconds, I saved $660 for the year on my DirecTV bill, saved $120 for the year on my SiriusXM bill, and saved $840 a year on car insurance. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/Freddie and Alyssa. Go right now, Truebill.com/Freddie and Alyssa. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/Freddie and Alyssa.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Now, where would you like to start? Should we start on the physique? Is it the energy? I don't want to brag, but losing weight changes your life. And I don't know why I waited so long to truly commit and make the mindset change.
Well, it's just one of those things in life, I feel, when it comes to losing weight, you have to make that decision yourself. It can't be other people. You really, truly have to know in your heart, like, hey, I've hit we always call it the day of disgust.
Yes.
Where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And you've 100% made it up in your mind because watching you the past 90 days, this is your lifestyle now.
Yes.
You don't care. I feel like the first 30 days, if I ever brought anything into the house that was a little naughty to eat or drink, we jokingly would have you, what was it? You jokingly would look at me, and I forget what you'd say, but you're like, I'm not judgmental. I'm not judging.
But I would judge.
He was.
I would judge.
But cut to today, 90 days later, you're just so in your lane and so doing your thing that you're not bothered at all.
I think for me, because if you've been a viewer, an audience member, a fan of the show, of Days, you've probably have seen me over the years kind of fluctuate. But it really wasn't that big of a deal until the past 3 years is where I really started. I had the wrong mindset about dieting. And I think that was the biggest change that I had is we all know that eating broccoli and grilled chicken is healthy. We know that going for a walk is exercise or getting your heart rate up. We kind of know. But why do we, Benjamin,
Gotta
he
get
wants
my
up on
tongue
his,
on his chair. Pause,
you want to
please.
grab his blanket?
Yeah.
But I think it was my mindset that has finally changed, that I just need to change my relationship to food, and I need to change my relationship to my body and my health in general. So I think that was the biggest change for me, is I was like, I really have to start thinking of the future. I don't want to imagine myself at 60 if I keep eating unhealthy all the time. And even though I wasn't what you can say considerably like obese, or where you would maybe look at me and go, that's very, very unhealthy, but I still was 30 pounds overweight for my structure.
I never left.
You never did leave. So that's what my mindset shift was. For me, it was thinking about my future, and it was allowing me to just feel better about myself. And then the last thing, aside from like clothes fitting better, me having more confidence, there's the bigger things for me is sleeping better. I made so many jokes when we lived in Twin Eagles about having Tums next to my bed, because I genuinely needed it. And I go, is this because I'm in my 30s now? Like, when did this happen? Because I would drink beers and I would have Carl's Jr., like all growing up in my 20s, but it never really messed with my weight. It didn't mess with my acid reflux. So I thought, oh, it's my age, which it was when you're eating and drinking like that.
Right.
But if you are eating healthy and you're drinking water and you're getting your sleep, I have not needed any Tums. Like, all of that went away.
That's
a lot
true.
of my...
You used to have Tums by your bed every single
Well,
night.
because we would have Domino's pizza 3 nights a week. The cheeseburger pizza is amazing, and the Philly cheesesteak pizza is amazing, and the Miller's boneless wings, and the potato skins, and like all these different things. And so in that moment, it's fun. It's amazing. I still remember what it's like to go and grab a Philly cheesesteak or to have a cold beer. And like, I'm going to do that very soon. I needed to get to a goal weight of mine that now is manageable. So if I go have a cheat meal and I eat something bad, or I have a night of drinking or partying, that I can wake up the next day, I gained a half a pound, and within 2 days, I'm back to my weight. It's really discouraging when you have 30 pounds to lose and then you go and spend a Thursday night out at dinner, a Friday night out at like lunch, and then a Saturday night drinking. Now all of a sudden on Sunday, you're the same weight or a little more, and it's going to take you 3 days just to get back to a weight you already need to lose 30 pounds from.
Yeah.
So for me, I just needed to get rid of that. I'm still going to focus on losing more weight, but I'm going to free myself up to have a little more fun and just kind of balance that.
Of course.
But back to my main point to wrap this up is that maybe this will help somebody who was struggling like I was with the yo-yoing effect. Having a discipline in your life, like working out every day and eating the right foods, will carry over to other aspects of your life, because it's just that fight with the voice in your head. Yeah. And it really started to make me recognize that there are two voices, and that I need to shut out the voice that's bad for me and focus on the voice that knows what's good for me. So when I went in the morning and I'm like, I want bacon, eggs, toast, I want like orange, and I know this doesn't even sound like an unhealthy breakfast, but once you actually realize the calories and how sluggish it'll make you, but as soon as I tell my brain, no, we're having 2 pieces of Ezekiel toast, or we're having some blueberries, I've beaten that voice once. Now at lunch, I've beaten that voice again. Now I even went for a 45-minute walk. I've beaten that voice again that says, just stay home, you're doing fine. But now that I've beaten that voice 3 times, at 4 o'clock, when I have a decision to make of getting a task done or doing something productive, I'm used to beating that voice. This isn't my first run-in with the voice at 5 o'clock going, come on, are you really going to do this right now? It's 5 o'clock. You know what? You've been kind of owning the day. You're right. And I'm going to fold to this voice. Starting in the morning with habit stacking, with Alyssa, you can get into habit stacking because that's really important. But making the bed in the morning, you beat the voice. Doing the things that you promised yourself is beating the voice. And it carried over into every other aspect of my life. I've been extremely productive, which also probably helps because I'm sleeping like a baby, because I'm not having indigestion, or I'm not waking up just feeling like crap about myself. Like, I'm waking up and like not even hungry for the first 4 hours. It's incredible. So I just think that maybe that whole portion of it isn't explained a lot when it comes to the health and fitness world out there. It's a lot of like intermittent fast, or cut carbs, or no, you can have carbs, or on this diet you can have pizza, on this diet you can't, on this you can build it. It's like all that's all true, but change the mindset to doing it for the discipline in your life and for your future health, is a way bigger why, if you will, than just because you just want to like lose some weight.
Right.
But I just love my aches and pains have gone away. I feel so much better about myself. Like I lost the part of myself.
No.
And I'm like cocky now.
Oh gosh. We have this joke. You guys might have seen this in his Head and Shoulders campaign, which we'll get into in a minute. But it was kind of like satire in the campaign where you're like self-admiration. We have this long time running joke where he actually really does do self-admiration. For a couple years, it kind of went away. But now I see him in the mirror. I'm like, what are you doing in my full-length mirror over there, babe?
I'm looking at the work of art that I've been sculpting for the past 91 days. Sculpting for the last 91 days.
But I got to say, too, though, I really am so deeply proud of you because losing weight in general and sticking to it is really, really, really hard. But you've been doing it with such a positive attitude. I just see every avenue of your life is just doing better, you know, like growing for the better. And that's, you know, momentum in any direction that you go. You're going to continue to build everything else in your life, and it's going to go into all the other areas. So I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, babe. Yeah, I think the momentum portion of it is also a huge component, and that's why I get a little obsessed. But that's my personality with anything, and it yes. serves me well when it's put into something positive, and it serves me negatively when it's something negative. But I become extremely laser focused to the point that, like, I won't even like. There's a time if she's like drinking wine, I won't kiss her because I don't even want like to have like a drop of it touch my mouth. Like I become that obsessed with what I'm doing.
He's like, did you just take a sip?
Yeah. So it's all that laser focus, but the momentum is a really big deal to me. And this is another thing too. It's like if you're trying to build momentum in your life to do something, whether it's in work or your family life or with your diet. And I think where I'm at now, because I've built the momentum, that I do have the luxury to have a cheat day now. Mm-hmm. But when you're trying to push that car to 30 pounds of a weight loss and you're pushing it, you're finally getting it going, and then you stop that car to have a 2 days of, who cares, I'm hanging with friends, I'm going to eat and drink. And now on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you have to restart pushing that car. Right. Where I have got the car started and now I just have one finger on it jogging behind it because I'm not stopping by having those bad meals or drinking yet. So I just wanted to build that momentum so I don't even look at it as weeks anymore. Like I look at this as a chunk of time, as a 90-day chunk of time that has been one big 90-day ball of momentum. And it just feels really cool. So I want to see how to move forward in my life where, and I haven't figured this out yet, of how to enjoy a little, but keep this same... You know, I'm like nervous to have a pizza because I don't want to have heartburn. It's like, is that happiness for 10 minutes worth potentially not sleeping well and affecting my next day? And I know I'm overthinking, but you all know me right now. So I just have to find a way to maybe do 90 to 100 days of this and then maybe take a week off and go eat and drink and have fun, go on vacation, and then come back and do another 90 days. Maybe that's what I'm going to have to do. Or maybe I can create the discipline where I can just be a normal person and have a Saturday cheat meal where I can go have pizza, have some beer, and just do it once a week.
Hey, balance,
I got to see how to do that. But I wanted to keep it all up. You've all been so encouraging. Thank you for the compliments. You can, my face is where you can see it.
Yes.
I've been kind of reluctant because I'm just so embarrassed to post a before and after because I just didn't want to draw attention to it. I love the gradual change that I've had where people, if I put it next to each other, yes, it'll be a shocking value like, oh, wow. Yeah. Like what, like congrats on this. But I just don't even want to remind people that I let myself go like that. So I'm not even doing a big post about it. I'm letting people know I'm on it and I've lost 31 pounds now, but I don't want to do it before and after, I don't think. Maybe in like a year or something.
Because I think at this point, this is just a lifestyle for you. Like I've really seen something click in your brain where I feel like on past diets, you were kind of excited to get back to, okay, I'm this weight now. Now I can go have cheats for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I've not seen this in you ever where you are just fully focused. You've made that change. You've made that pivot. Like, I'm done. I want to live a healthy lifestyle. I want to, of course, with balance, be able to go and have your cheat meals.
You kind of have to. That's a joy in life.
And you started this so early at the perfect time in the year that now with the holidays coming and your parents coming, my sister, like the whole family being together, if that's when you decide, hey, I want to cheat a little, like that's when you do it. You're celebrating. It's a holiday. You've worked so hard. But that's if you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, you keep going. You keep running with it. And everyone's different. Everyone kind of knows. But you know, sometimes in life, I'm a really big person on balance, and I think that if you're able to do it successfully, and if you want the cookie, if you want the beer, the wine, whatever, that's fine. But everything in moderation.
But I also think this is a really great point because you and I are two different people when it comes to that.
Yep.
It's easy for someone like Alyssa to say moderation because she lives it.
Yeah.
Like you have fluctuated 8 pounds up and down your whole life. It's hardly even noticeable because she's a moderate person. She doesn't have a big appetite. She never, not once, ever has finished anything ever that she's ordered. And our refrigerator, I call it mine because all my healthy food's in there. And then she likes to put some garbage food in there.
Sometimes.
We have our each shelf now. But she just doesn't have the appetite that I do.
Yeah.
And you're great with moderation. You're like, oh, I can just have, this. I'll just have like one bite. I'm like, you're going to have a bite? Like, I'm going to crush this Publix subs in 15 minutes. You're going to break it into 2 days, into 4 sections?
Yeah.
Why? Let's finish the task and complete the consumption of a 16-inch breaded chicken, mayonnaise, lettuce sub on white bread.
I got to ask
honey barbecue chips.
Speaking of like a cheat meal, is there anything that you truly think about, or if you could have a cheat meal tomorrow, what would that one thing be for you? Is there anything you've been really craving on while you've been on this diet, or is that changed?
I have not. I have literally craved nothing. I've been like sweets to me are pointless. My blueberry pistachio mix at night covers that. I look forward to it every night. I would say the hearty stuff like a good pizza, boneless wings, or a Philly cheesesteak would be great. And also, I kind of want to attempt to do it because I never want to be in a situation like 8 months from now where I'm like at a dinner and I'm like, you know what? We're celebrating. Hi, everyone. I'm going to try a greasy food for the first time in 8 months. And your like stomach doesn't react well. So I kind of don't want to get so clean for so long that, because I've heard people, there was a friend of ours that we were at dinner with and he was vegan for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they accidentally gave him real meat instead of an Impossible meat at a drive-thru, and he ate it and he was sick for 4 days because his body wasn't used to it. Now that was after 2 years, and vegan's different than...
And that's meat.
Yes, that's different. This is more like, I'm still having all the ingredients that are in like a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Well, not dairy. Not having dairy. So we'll see. But I just think it's interesting. I wanted to share this with everybody because if you're like Alyssa and you can do moderation, or maybe you've struggled and had ups and downs like myself, I just like sharing my journey that it has just felt great. This time around, for some reason, I really felt like my mindset has shifted.
Yeah.
And I think the last point, which I've said 3 times, but I keep thinking of other things, I also think because our back is against the wall in the sense of like, we have to drum up opportunity to make a living, that having a physique and being thin to me and having that confidence opens up opportunities. And I think that I just knew like, yeah, I could be the weight I was, but would the Head and Shoulder commercial have been as funny? Yeah. Would I have felt as confident being shirtless in the shower? Would I have done some more fashion deals that I'm doing with companies like clothing? Like, yeah, you can do different clothing, but I think for me, just the confidence level, I really just needed that. And that gave me the extra push as well, because back when I was working on the show, I was like, oh crap, like I just need to lose weight quick because I'm on the show and I need to look thin.
Yeah.
And but yet again, when you're with some like a company, or it happens in relationships sometimes where people are like, we've been together 10 years, and you kind of get a little lazy with it.
Of course.
And
it's easy
so
to do.
That's why I was like, oh crap. And that's why I just like struggled where I needed to have that mind shift earlier, but I learned from it. Now I'm here. And
also too, you do a lot of work in front of the camera, obviously. So there's that where you want to feel confident and looking good. But also I've noticed with you outside of work and just in the real world and just other areas of your life, you are just really, really confident, feeling good. because you feel great in your own skin. And I just think that's so important. It doesn't matter if you're in front of the camera or not. Just in your everyday life, you're going to make better decisions when you're when you feel better.
You do better.
You do better. So.
Yeah, so it's been quite the journey. So I'll keep you posted. I'll probably share on social media my first cheat meal or first drink, whenever that may be. But I just feel really good that I told myself I want to do at least 90 days. I've accomplished that, and I feel proud of that. So
let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, that all being said, I know I mentioned the Head and Shoulders campaign earlier.
Yeah.
Now,
what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, it's kind of crazy to see how full circle working in entertainment for brands has been for you, because when you first moved to LA, you were what I like to call the commercial king. You booked commercials left and right. And so you did what? It was K Jewelers, Burger King?
Taco Bell.
But no, you did McDonald's you did. When you were dressed up as a gladiator and stuff, all that. You did so many commercials, but it's so interesting to see, cut to current day, these same brands are now paying content creators to make the different content for them, which is essentially just another way to market their product. So what do you think young Freddie Smith, commercial king Freddie Smith, back in the day would have thought about you being able to create your own content and make a living of doing that versus picking up, moving to LA, auditioning, and going through that circuit?
Well, I'm really happy that I went that route because of the lessons and everything that I learned. And I met my wife and had a wonderful career, and there was a lot of beautiful things that happened there, so I would never take any of that back. But if I would have known, but when you think back to like a 19-year-old me and Mio, my roommate at the time, still my best bud till this day, we would just make skits in the apartment for nobody. Yeah. Like, I learned to edit when I was 19 years old, and we had a camcorder that had a small disc in it. And we would just make videos, but we didn't post them. We just made videos for ourselves to like practice acting, but there was never a thought, because YouTube was brand new in 2007. Like, it hadn't hit any sort of mainstream notoriety at that point. And it would have been a dream come true for a struggling actor to be able to make videos and have a distribution platform like a YouTube, like an Instagram, to put your ideas out, to be discovered, so that I didn't have to just go into a room and go, "Hi, everyone, I hope you like me." They could have seen my video and called me and said, "We saw your video. You're great. We want you to audition, write to producers for this new sitcom or this new drama," whatever it may be. So it would have opened up opportunities, but also to be able to get paid for it is really interesting as well. But the tactics, the things that I learned by being an editor for 14 years now, a lot of what you're seeing on social media is editing. TikTok makes it easy for people who are new, that you don't have to be the best editor, but having editing skills plays a huge part in today's short form video.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that I took initiative back in the day just because I loved it. There was no distribution. There was no money to be made. Yeah. And I did it out of true passion. And that editing led me to, I've been editing for years. And then what I learned about commercials is what I'm applying to my videos today. And it was that one moment too, when we did the white party, like little moments. Who was it? John Homa, the acting coach, who said it's the director's moment, or the big, what's the moment called? In every movie, there's an unbelievably close shot on the actor's face that just, it's the bookable moment.
The bookable moment. That movie star moment.
The movie star bookable moment. I don't know if he said bookable or we created that over time, but I'll never forget in the Carl's Jr. commercial that I did, I always thought about, when they're watching all these tapes, what is the bookable moment? And the bookable moment is that moment that they're going to go, that's what we want on the big screen. That's going to sell our product. Yep. So I always would look, and on commercials, it was always going into the room, making sure you're facing the camera, because this right here, oh, I really like this JCPenney's, and then all this, hey guys, you want to come? All of a sudden, you don't care about Freddie Smith. So when you're doing it, you're always smiling, and if I'm talking to my friends, it's right over here. It's like, you have to come over to the barbecue. We're all barbecuing. Now you're seeing this face on camera, and that's what people are looking at. So in my Carl's Jr. commercial, I remember when I saw Kate Upton in my imagination, because that was the thing.
She wasn't there, yeah.
That I had a bookable moment, and I knew the moment that I did it for the camera, and I imagined seeing the swimsuit Sports Illustrated model, the reaction of the entire room because they saw the bookable moment. I knew in that moment I booked it.
That was it.
And I'm doing that with certain aspects of our Reels and our TikToks because people are just waiting. They're just waiting to swipe. So how do you, for 15 to 20 to 30 seconds, how do you keep the audience from not going, ooh, ooh, and keep them from not swiping?
Right.
You need bookable moments, interesting, funny, quick edits. So I just feel like all those years has led up to the ability to do brand deals and content creation.
Definitely.
And the same thing with yourself. That's what you've been doing for all these years.
I know. It's kind of crazy. It started back in 2018, I think, is when I got my first deal with Johnny Walker.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
You guys might even remember that too. And we even had brought in some of my girlfriends for a photo shoot. Remember?
Yes.
We had Hector shoot for us.
Yep.
So it's just been a learning experience all of these years. But I think with us both, it's something that's always been, in us. Even when you were doing all of your skits and editing and stuff with me and your friends, I was doing the same thing. I mean, I'm talking like 2008, 2009. We would go on photo booth on our computer and you would make skits and do talk shows. And I'll never forget, one of my friends and I were talking back then about putting some of these up on YouTube, but we felt just so embarrassed.
Yeah.
We're like, oh gosh, but people are going to see this. And that's what so many creators felt back then because they were the pioneers of this new online space. So now, cut to current day, everyone knows what content creation was. Even the other day, we were shooting one for him and we were in the parking lot and there are a lot of people that kind of were looking and they'd walk by and everyone's kind of looking, but people are familiar now that it's an influencer. You know what I'm saying? They know what you're doing, but they're still curious. They're like, what are you laughing at?
It's just sometimes if you're just doing a normal hey, here I am, it's kind of cool. I was doing an exaggerated comedy sketch.
It was so big.
And it was so big and so obnoxious and you do feel kind of weird. There's certain moments where you're I just have to tell myself, look, you're being paid to do... if I wasn't being paid to do some of the ones I do, it'd be hard to do it because I'd be a little embarrassed. But I fight through the embarrassment because I'm they're counting on me to make this good and I need this shot. So I'll do it even if people are looking. But there's just times I go, excuse me. And they're like, oh, do you need to use this? And I go, yeah. But you can go first. They're like, no, you go. I'm like, well, I got to shoot a video of this.
He literally had to do that.
And then the guy looks at me and goes, he didn't know what I meant. And then I just pull out my phone and I'm filming and everyone's just watching me. So you kind of have to get over that aspect. But it's really neat. This whole creator economy started years ago. It's starting to pick up steam. Yeah. And I just love where it's going. I love even with Head and Shoulders that I was able to write the script. They just wanted the tagline, or not the tagline, but if you've even seen the Head and Shoulders commercials that are on national TV when your dad was watching the football game, it came on. And they have a Head and Shoulders campaign right now where the messaging is that it's never not working. So they basically just told me, you're a busy guy. Can you talk about how busy you are and you're always working and Head and Shoulders is never not working. So it's kind of but I remember thinking initially, I was I don't want to be I'm so busy. I was I get it. But I was what if I make fun of it? And I wrote the script, submitted it to Head and Shoulders, and they loved it. And I was this is so cool. Yeah. So I got a dopamine hit from them liking my writing. Then I got to shoot it, direct it, do all this, edit it, and then I submitted the final product. They had no edits.
None.
They had no edits. They're this is great.
I mean, it was fantastic.
I was this is awesome. And I got to post it, and it's doing really well. And it was just the coolest thing. So I just have a lot of passion behind this because that's my biggest thing is I get to act, direct, edit, and write all together. Yeah. And companies and advertisers and big companies like Head and Shoulders and many others are now coming into the space and they're paying creators to make videos. So I almost feel I'm made my 19-year-old self proud that here I am 13, 14 years later making silly sketches and sometimes serious sketches but I'm putting it out for the public to view, to share love and laughs and entertainment, and then every now and then sprinkle in a paid one to make that paper, but also making the ads fun and consumable.
Yes.
And I think I think I did a great job with Head and Shoulders. Is that I don't want to just do an ad where everyone's like, oh, that's cool. Like, Freddie's doing an ad. I want it to be entertaining so that people can enjoy the ad.
Of course.
There's been a few companies like Geico, and who else does comedy? A bunch of commercials.
Progressive too, doesn't
Progressive
flow?
does. Yeah, where you're excited to watch it because it was thoughtful. It's not just like, this paper's the best paper. So you got to really do that. But
it's been fun though. Like, I feel even my parents the other day were saying, if this kind of content creator economy would have happened, say like 30 years ago, my mom was like, I don't have that talent, to sit and write and edit. It wasn't something that they would lean into.
They might have.
Or
they might not have.
You don't know. That was the whole thing. But I guess you'll never know unless it happened, which it didn't.
But everybody's on it, though. I think all teenagers are on these apps. I think it's hard to think about, would somebody who's 50, 60, 70, 80, if this was available, a lot of them probably would have. But
That's true.
If you're not into tech, some people are like amazingly into tech. Doesn't matter the age.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's just like the younger generations growing up with it, and
I also too, I always see even my niece at 3 years old can work an iPad better than anyone in the world, and she's 3. So what is that mind going to do? What's that generation going to do when at 3 years old they were already introduced to technology? It's just crazy, and I'm really excited to watch it and see our world continue to evolve, because we've come a long way thus far, and I can't even imagine what we have to come with the metaverse.
Yeah, we could talk more about the. So many different technological advances, and I'm excited just to learn and grow and continue to produce content for all of you. And again, just thank you for the support, even on the because I feel like that was my first really big brand deal, and you showered me with love on Instagram and TikTok, and I really appreciate that. And then to wrap this up real quick, because I know you have to dip.
I know, I'm sorry.
But speaking of technology, there is one other thing to, like, when you have spare time. I'm obviously not giving any financial advice here, but to do this in 1 minute.
All right, let's see it.
To take a little time over the next couple months, when you do have time, to research Bitcoin, Ethereum, and cryptocurrencies again. I think we were all, not all, but a lot of us, including myself, when we heard about it during the time of the initial push, it was kind of a get-rich-quick kind of thing. Like, let's pump some money into it, see if it really goes to the moon and cash out and make all this money. I didn't have the correct mindset like I do now. And what we're doing at this point, well, what I'm doing but Alyssa knows I'm doing, I'm just setting up a weekly debit that automatically a small amount is being purchased every week. So that over the next 5 years, that's what I'm looking at. So over the next 5 years, if it goes up or down or wherever, I believe in the next 5 years that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatever else you want to look into will be significantly higher, and it could be a good investment as long as you're investing a amount that you would be okay losing. So I'm not getting carried away, but the bigger our income grows, then the more percentage I'll bump up, but I'm never going over a certain percentage of what we're making, because I don't want to do that, because I believe it is still high risk.
Yeah.
But if I would have this is the craziest part I'll leave you with. In 2017, instead of throwing in tens of thousands on a get-rich-quick moment, if I would have just stuck to, I believe in this, let me put in $100 a month. Starting in 2017 till today, that $100 a month, which would be like about $6,000, would be worth $70,000 today. And in Ethereum, $100 a month since 2017 would have been $220,000 in return. So that's how I'm looking at it now. I'm not going to go, I'm going to dump $10,000 and hope I can triple it. No, I just want to put in what I feel comfortable weekly, putting up there as an investment potential risk, and see where all those little increments will go in 5 years. And that's the way. Yeah. So I'm not like, it's up, it's down. No, just
we
regardless.
Had a solid 6 months where every day we were checking Coinbase and just panic attack. Oh my gosh.
Well, because we were up a lot for a second, and then we lost our asses. And then I remember even when I was working with Brock Kelly, who played Evan on days, I was like, yeah, I'm selling my Bitcoin. He goes, dude, you got to hold. You got to hold. Don't sell when you're in the debt. He goes, it'll go back up eventually. And I was like, no, I have to cash out because if it goes any lower, like I got to cash out. And I had almost 1.5 Bitcoin. So if I would have just held, it would be worth like almost 100 grand today. But I pulled out really early, made a huge mistake. But now I'm being responsible. So
and slow and steady wins the race in anything in life. Just a little bit at a time.
Just chip away a little bit every single day. So anywho, thank you so much for the support from you as well, because I feel like I talked a lot in this episode, and you had a beautiful smile allowing me to talk about
a Freddie
things that are going on in my life.
And I loved it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're crushing it, baby.
Thank you all so much. Enjoy your week. We'll be back here next Wednesday, and we're wishing you just the absolute best. So take care, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.